Hi, I'm Danielle Bassoni, back with another segment of Time for Change Kitchen. Today we are going to make barbecued jackfruit, which is very, very similar to barbecued pulled pork. In fact, I've fed this to a number of carnivores who have not been able to tell the difference, and everyone really loves this dish. I'm going to do two methods. We're going to do it in our Instant Pot, and we are going to do a Stovetop method. They are both very quick. Some people are only cooking with their Instant Pots these days, so I did want to show you that you could do it in your Instant Pot. And so these are our ingredients. We are going to use 2 cans of green jackfruit. Jackfruit is a tropical fruit. It grows on a tree and hangs from the tree similar to dates, except that these things can get up to 100 pounds each. They look like a thorny watermelon, and when they're green, they're very good for using as a meat substitute. When they're ripe, they taste somewhere between a mango, a banana, and a pineapple. And also they have seeds inside of them that can be roasted like chestnuts, so it's a very useful tree. So we're going to use jackfruit soaked in that has been preserved in brine, and be sure to get the green jackfruit. I buy these at a local Asian store. I've seen them in numerous cities and Asian stores. You can also sometimes find them in Indian markets. So be sure you get the green jackfruit, because that's the one that is suitable as a meat substitute. The ripe jackfruit that is preserved in syrup is a dessert jackfruit, and I don't actually use that at all. So we'll move to the sink now, and I'll show you how to get started. Okay, so we're going to use 2 cans of green jackfruit. The first thing I'm going to do is drain this can. I've already drained the other one. And we're using green jackfruit in brine. I prefer the brine to the jackfruit that is preserved in water, because the jackfruit tends to be less tough when it's preserved in brine. And I'll show you how we'll deal with that in a few minutes. This is 1 pound and 4 ounces with the water, and drained it's 10 ounces, and we're using 2 cans of this. And we are going to add this to our bowl. Now, you can see the jackfruit has this triangle in it. This is much tougher than this area, and it has to be crushed, because otherwise the rest of it won't separate properly. So, and this will just separate very easily. These triangles aren't always this large, but in this particular jar they are. Inside there are these little seeds, and you can crush those if you want it to look more like jackfruit, or if you don't mind having the seeds in there. This is normally what they look like with this little piece at the end. But if you don't like having that seed in there, just to give it that pulled pork appearance, you can just crush them. See, there's another one. But if you don't mind, it's no problem just to leave it the way it is. Now these seeds, when the jackfruit is, that one took off. When the jackfruit is ripe, they're about this big, and those can be roasted like chestnuts. I'm wearing gloves to do this because I have torn a cuticle, and I do not want to expose this food to any wound, any open wound. Okay, we're going to do the other can. This goes very quickly. Okay, just want to check to make sure I've done all of them. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this over here and fill it with filtered water that I keep. I have a water filter in my sink. So I just rinse it with this, and I let it soak for 10 minutes. And then I do it again and rinse it, and then drain it again, and we're done. So I'm going to fill this bowl again and let it soak for another 10 minutes. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to reduce the amount of sodium that's in the brine. And this is an effective way to do that. It's been 10 minutes now, and we are going to drain this, and now we can take it over to our stovetop and prepare this. Okay. That's good enough. Okay, we're back. So we're going to make two identical versions of barbecue jackfruit, and we are going to put them in at the same time, and you can decide for yourself which method you prefer. This is the jackfruit that we've crushed and drained. And we're going to do the same in our Instant Pot. By the way, I'm using a ceramic liner for the Instant Pot, which I purchased separately from the Instant Pot. This may work perfectly well in a stainless steel liner. I haven't tried that yet. I find that this ceramic liner is very good for when you're cooking things that involve sugars or nuts or nut sauces, things that typically will scorch. And I have not had any issue with things scorching in this ceramic liner, so I highly recommend it. So we are going to add a 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar. I use light brown sugar. We're going to do the same to this. This is going a little too fast already, so I'm going to turn that down. We are using 2 tablespoons of chili powder. This is the same chili powder blend that you use when you're making chili. I call it Southwestern chili powder. It has paprika and cumin and garlic and onion and other spices depending on who's making it. It's very flavorful. We're going to do the same with the Instant Pot. We're also using a tablespoon of paprika. This is really more for color than anything, but it does add a little flavor, a little pepper flavor. Mild pepper flavor. We are using a teaspoon of ground garlic and a teaspoon of this is actually granulated garlic, and a teaspoon of granulated onion. You can use powder if you like. We're doing the same here. And we are using 1.5 cups of barbecue sauce. This I want to caution you about. This is chipotle chili powder. I'm using 1/4 teaspoon. It is will add a little kick to this pulled pork recipe. Keep it, if you don't like your food to be spicy, hot spicy, then just eliminate it. I happen to like my food to be a bit spicy, but you also should keep in mind, if you're using the homemade barbecue sauce, and I've published a YouTube video of that, remember that it's also got a little bit of heat to it. So if you're adding spice to your jackfruit, then you're also adding more when you put the barbecue sauce in, and that's what this is. We also use 2 tablespoons of liquid smoke, and that's what makes it taste like pork. I'm not used to doing 2 things at a time here. So we're going to add our barbecue sauce. This is 1.5 cups of the best barbecue sauce in the world. And it works very well with this recipe. If you do not wish to make your own barbecue sauce, you can certainly use commercial barbecue sauce. But if you don't try this, you do not know what you're missing, if I do say so myself. Okay. So we'll just stir this up a little bit. I'm going to move this over here to make sure the camera can see it. We just want to combine the ingredients. It already smells very good. But this jackfruit is marvelous to use in many dishes as a meat substitute. It just takes on the flavor of whatever it is you're preparing. Okay. So we are going to put a lid on this and simmer it for about 10, maybe 15 minutes. And so we're going to put the lid on our Instant Pot, and we're going to set it on seal. This is when it's vented, and then this is when it's sealed and unvented. And we are going to set this on manual at 0 minutes. I've already preset this, and it's also set on high. And so all we have to do now is wait for that to come to pressure, and then it will be done. We release the vent and it's done. You can hear that it going off. That's telling us that it's starting to build up pressure. So I'm turning up this temperature. I want it to simmer at a fast simmer, and it'll be complete in perhaps 10 minutes, maybe 15. This has been cooking for a couple of minutes, and I just want to show you the speed at which it should be cooking. It's got a nice little boil, little simmer going, a fast simmer, and this is the way it should be looking. And you should remember to stir this quite often because, like I said, these sugars tend to want to burn, and we don't want that to happen. So now that this has reached the temperature that I want, I am going to turn it down just a little so that it doesn't continue to accelerate. We'll be back. You can see that the steam is starting to come out of here, or at least I hope you can see that. And in just a moment, this will pop up to the top. This has been going 8 minutes so far, and that's how long it's taken this to come to temperature. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to give this another stir. And this looks really good. It's starting to look more and more like pulled pork. And if the idea of eating pulled pork is repugnant to you, just call it barbecued jackfruit, because that's really what it is. This is a great transitional meal for people who are wanting to become plant-based, and they really don't think they can live without meat. So you see that this rod has come to the top, it's popped to the top, and that tells us that this is now sealed. And it will take a minute or so to reach full pressure, and then it will go off, and we can release the pressure, and it'll be done. This has been going for 11 minutes, and this is done. We can turn this off now. There you go. I'm going to turn this off. Whoops, not up, but off. This has reached pressure, and it's gone to low, and we're going to turn this off. And let me mention something about releasing this pressure. I'm kind of jammed up here, so I don't want to do this in my face. You have to make sure that you're not over this steam valve, or that this steam valve is not going to hit you in any way. And all you have to do is turn this. Okay, so that it has dropped. We can open this now. Stir this up and you have pulled pork, or barbecue jackfruit. It's beautiful. We'll taste them and see which one we prefer. I don't want to get a big piece, but I'm going to try a little one. It's good. They're identical. So there you have it. Now you know how to make barbecue jackfruit, aka vegan barbecue pulled pork, on the stovetop or in your Instant Pot. I'm Danielle Bassoni, reminding you to enjoy whole foods for whole health.